And here is the Writer's Almanac for Sunday. It's the 23rd of June, 2019. Tonight is Midsummer Night's Eve, St. John's Eve, St. John, the patron saint of beekeepers, a time when the hives are full of honey. The full moon this month was called the mead moon because honey was fermented to make mead, and that's where the word honeymoon comes from. It's a time for lovers. An old Swedish proverb says, "Midsummer night is not long, but it sets many cradles rocking." Shakespeare set his play A Midsummer Night's Dream on this night. Two young couples who wander into a magical forest outside Athens. In the play, Shakespeare wrote, "The course of true love never did run smooth." It was on this day, 1972, that Title IX was signed into law by President Richard Nixon. Title IX, which prohibited sex discrimination in any federally funded education activity or program, applying to all schools, elementary to universities, public and private. And though the original language of Title IX did not mention sports, the biggest effect of the law came for female athletes in high school and college, whose opportunities before had been very, very limited. Title IX was introduced in the House by Representative Edith Green of Oregon, the chair of the House Committee on Education, and she encouraged women's groups and other supporters to stay quiet on the issue, hoping that Congress wouldn't think too hard about the significance of Title IX and just vote for it, and that is pretty much what happened. Somebody raised a brief concern that Title IX would require schools to allow women to play football, but nonetheless the bill was passed, and it revolutionized gender equity in education. Since it passed in 1972, the percentage of women getting degrees in higher education has steadily climbed. Women now outpace men in obtaining both bachelor's and graduate degrees. After the passage of Title IX, women's teams were required to have the same resources as men's teams. Spending had to be proportional to the number of athletes participating. At the high school level, girls' participation in sports has increased by more than 900% since 1972. And it was on this day in 1868 the first typewriter was patented by Christopher Latham Sholes. It took up about as much room as a large table, but Mark Twain bought one almost as soon as they came out, and in 1883 he sent the manuscript of his book Life on the Mississippi to his publisher in typed form. He was the first author ever to do so. It was on this day in 1926 that 8,000 college applicants in about 350 locations around the country were given an experimental college admissions test. Carl Brigham, professor of psychology at Princeton, was the one who came up with it. He'd been involved in World War I in the Army's IQ testing program, and he was looking for a test that would measure pure intelligence regardless of the test taker's educational background. It was the forerunner of what we know as the SAT, the Scholastic Aptitude Test, which was formally adopted in 1942. Here's a poem for today by Connie K. Waller. Write me a love poem. Fill it with my favorite flower and perfume, a glass of champagne, a bite of caviar. Whisper sweet words to me, your back turned to the other people in the room. Let your face light up with delight, thoughts close to your heart you will share later at a better time and place. After 30 years, there can still be surprises. This is your chance, and I am waiting. Write Me a Love Poem by Connie K. Waller from What's Left, published by Moonpath Press and used by permission here on the Writer's Almanac. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.